Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Alright, welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight we've got the Kylou Glass Gen 4 series here live from Iowa on the Iowa 150. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Jared Carr. Jared, good old Iowa tonight, and we got a little, a little difference here with the iRacing update tonight.
Yeah, Dean, I mean, we had an update just today, so these drivers, unless they had the day off, haven't had a whole lot of time to maybe come to grips with it. I know that, individually the car hasn't changed and the tires that are on the car haven't changed, but how the rubber interacts with the track, which is crucial to how the track races, has changed throughout the oval community. So, Dean, I'm sure these drivers are trying to figure out how that's going to impact this race long term tonight. We have 145 laps, so I'm sure it will come into play.
Yeah, it definitely will. You know, they talk about, like, you can't run in the main groove late in the run. When the rubber's down, it's going to wear those tires out quicker. So look for guys to search around the racetrack. Going to be interesting, to say the least. And, as always, we got interesting races here at RGR Racing. Look at the weather. Hot and slick again tonight, Jared.
Yeah, and you look at these temps. I mean, it might be December 9th, and maybe December 9th where you are is warm, but where I am at, it is 22 degrees. I'm sure where Dean's at, it's even colder. But in the game, it is July 29th, Dean, and I could use some of that hot weather.
Absolutely. I could use a few other things to go along with summer as well. I mean,
absolutely.
Don't you want to see me in my Speedo, Jared?
Yeah, I'll leave my comments untethered there.
Well, anybody else, just DM me. I'll send you a pic. But get into this race, and let's look at the championship standings. Unofficial here. Jason Ratliff out front. Lance Ripka, of course, won last week. Michael Walker in third. Greg Ratliff, Todd Gilly, Rachel Hunt, Shane Fleming, Tom Ashley, Robert Leprime, and Jason Spear, your top 10. A little early to be talking points, Jared, but always interesting to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and you think about these weeks, every week has had a storyline coming into the race, and, the last 3 weeks, it has been domination by Chris Owens, but maybe he's left something on the table or made mistakes, and then it's been Jason Ratliff cleaning up at the end. But last week, Lance Ripka was able to get the better of him on late race restart and take the lead and held him off, Dean. And, it has been a topsy-turvy season already, and we are only 3 races in.
Yeah, absolutely. Expect that to continue. These Gen 4 cars, Jared, I mean, they tend to put on a good show. We got a lot of movement out of these cars, comers and goers, and with this rubber build-up situation with the update, I expect this one to be, maybe someone can come up here and steal one tonight.
Yeah, and from the people I've talked to, without divulging too much information, we should see more fall off. I know, if you guys listen at home and listen to our broadcast every week, we talk about the fall off point, which is, bigger tracks, not necessarily Iowa, but at bigger tracks like Texas last week. We're looking around 2 or more seconds before pit stop strategy to kind of really play a part. Shorter tracks, you're not going to get as much, but Dean, from what I've been hearing from the people that tested this before it was released, I think we will see more fall off moving forward. At some of the tracks, I don't know if Iowa's one of them.
Yeah, we haven't necessarily seen what we thought we'd seen from this car as far as fall off, but this update will affect this car as well, so going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Everybody getting ready to get racing here as we get into tonight's starting grid. It's Jason Ratliff out front with a time of 24.269. Chris Owens will start on the outside of row 1. Row 2, Paul Travis along with Adam Newton, the Bulldog. Greg Ratliff will start in 5th with Wes Pistol in 6th. Row 4 will be Ross Weiss and Todd Gilly. You got 9th for Tony Ratliff and Jason Brantley in 10th. Shane Fleming will start 11th with Troy Torgerson on his outside.
Yeah, and you look back through the final 3 qualifiers that posted times. We have 2 Haze laps here at Iowa. We have Tom Ashley and Rachel Hunt in row 7, and Lance Ripka, last week's winner. Dean, I think he might have wrecked in qualifying. I didn't see it, but based on the lap time, I think he had an issue. He'll be 15th, so he'll have to come to the back. We had 5 drivers not taking the time. That includes Klaus Williams, Jason Spear, Herb Ashley, Tom Lester, Eric Whiting, Bob Lapreme, and last year's pole winner when we came to Iowa, Michael Walker II, and defending title winner, will have to come from 17th to 19th, so that's going to be something that we'll have to watch as this race goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tough to come from the back without help from a caution or two. We'll see how it plays out. A lot of big players up front. Iowa, it's a place I've loved, but it's changed. It's gone through a lot of changes here over the last couple of seasons, including today, so we'll see how it plays out. Main thing I look at, that patch down there, Jared, really kind of smoothed it out. Personally, it affected me in a negative way, so I don't like it.
Yeah, and I think it affected a lot of drivers that like to utilize how Iowa operated in the past by having that extra grip strip, right? I mean, I think it changed the track in a big way. Whether that's, good or not, that's, I guess up to the driver, but it is something to pay attention to. And last time we were here, Dean, that was this. They raced on this track, so we have information and data that we'll be looking at all night from last year's race.
All right, just about ready to get racing here. Jason Ratliff and Chris Owens will lead them down to the green flag.
Green, green, green.
And we are racing here in the Iowa 150. Newton loose on the top, almost like he was trying to heat his tires up, but we were already racing.
Yeah, and Dean, we've noticed this the past few weeks. Jason Ratliff hasn't had a great start, but he battles back on the inside of Chris Owens. Chris Owens had a great start and stayed even with him, but right now he's going to slot into second. Ratliff rolls up to the high side. Owens undercuts him off 4.
Yeah, almost like Ratliff missed that corner. A little bit of an odd-looking corner there. Might have been on purpose. Further back in traffic, you got Tony Ratliff and the Toad Man going at it. Brantley right in there as well.
Side by side all through that back portion of the track. Troy Torgerson, who finished 3rd in the points last year, making his first start in this season's thing, and he is right there on the back of Brantley. Really tight action there in the mid-pack.
Wow, and he was sideways, absolutely yawed out there for a second. Up front, it looks like Jason Ratliff has got control right now with Owens hunting him down.
Yeah, and you watch up the front, you see in the top 2 have separated themselves out. Then you have another group of 2, but it is a hornet's nest toward the back. That includes, like we were talking about earlier, Troy Torgerson's back there, Lance Ripka's back there, Michael Walker II is back there. So that is an area of the track that we are really looking at right now, Dean, with a lot of heavy hitters back there outside the top 10.
Yeah, it's right behind Tony Ratliff here. You got Brantley, Torgerson, that's Fleming there. His car not really showing up for me. I believe that's an iRacing paint I'm looking at there. And then you got Tom Ashley, Lance Ripka in here. So they got to battle through here, and it looks like it's getting tough to get some momentum. Hot, slick track out here.
Yeah, and it's only going to make that groove narrow up a lot because the outside groove didn't get repaved. So it's old and rough, and it really doesn't have the effectiveness off the corner that it used to. Back when Dean liked the track, when I liked the track. So,
Yeah.
It makes it really difficult because the groove is really narrow. They did widen that out in turn 4. You can notice there's an extra patch there, but they didn't widen it out enough, Dean, and that's going to make it tough on these drivers. We're going to see a lot of pinching just because they have to.
Yeah, I think they did some penny pinching, Jared, because, they couldn't quite do all the way up to the wall. Paul Travis
aggressive move there.
I'm sorry?
But I said Troy Torgerson made an aggressive move off turn 4, but I don't think it was as aggressive as you hitting that baseball I put on the T-ball stand for you there.
Torgerson low. Tony Ratliff on the outside. The Toad Man trying to hold them off.
Looking out in our chat, we have a lively group here tonight. We got Doyle Lawrence. Obviously, he's back here. Troy Torgerson, he's supporting Troy Torgerson. We also got Darren Bruce. Good to see Darren out here. I'd love to see him in these cars, but I know he's an Xfinity wizard and really enjoys those cars. But we got a lot of guys out in the chat. shout out who you're watching out there, and Dean will put the camera on him and talk a bunch of shit about him. I'm just
That's right. That's right. The warden's out there, so watch out. He might jail you too. Who knows?
Absolutely. Paul K. really tight off turn 4, Dean, and that allowed Adam Newton there in the number 2 machine there to catch right up. But right now, Owens just roll over the back of the 55 machines. They come off turn 2 and battling deeper in the pack.
Yeah, and Owens likes to get out front. Ratliff loves clean air too, so these guys battling hard early. Paul K right in there. He set the fastest lap a few laps ago, so he's flying. And don't forget about Newton. Newton, once he gets a handle on this car, which it looks like he does have, he'll be dangerous here tonight.
And we didn't really, in our pre-race, sometimes we talk about dark horses. I do want to point out Paul K. Travis and his track record in this car, specifically at this track, but in general at this track, Dean. It doesn't matter. We've seen him in the Xfinity car. We've seen him in the Gen 6 car. We've seen him in the Gen 4 car. He has a knack for Iowa. So, if I was going to go out and say, here's my dark horse pick for this race tonight, it's Paul Travis Sr. in that number 88 machine there, running a pretty solid 3rd position.
Yeah, and he looks very stable there. Let's hop on board quickly with Paul and have a look and see how he's doing out here.
You see right there in front of him, Chris Owens trying to utilize a little bit more of that outside groove, Dean, to try to get the momentum down the front straightaway. But watch here going into turn 1. Watch how he opens that corner up in a late apex. That's a really good way to attack this track because you need the power off the corner, and late apexing does that. Chris Owens looks underneath in front of him right now. Then you look at battle for the lead just outside Paul Travis as he's grabbing that white line or as close as he can to that thing, and that is going to be crucial as this race goes on, Dean. These drivers have got to use that white line in 3 and 4 if they want to survive.
Absolutely. Gonna be a good fight here. Owens looking for the lead. Down low. Can he get the power down? Right now it's so difficult.
Difficult off of that corner, and it's also difficult because the groove is so narrow. We talked about the pinching. It's indirect. It's direct because of the track, but Owens, great run off turn 4. They're side by side down the front stretch.
Owens getting the power down, sends her down into 1 underneath a Ratliff. Good roll through the center. Both guys coming off. Owens with a big advantage. I think he'll clear down here in 3 and 4. Ratliff with an impressive entrance there. Can he hang on and fight back? He's
Nope,
still
he
up
can't.
there. Owens does
cleared
clear.
him down to 1. Yeah, what a job. That's a tough pass to make, and I do wonder, Dean, we look at this race and how it transpires. We had just 3 cautions last time we were here. Race took about an hour and 15 minutes, so it's a pretty heavy pace that these drivers run here, and I have to wonder if battling on the bottom is going to heat up those tires and make it difficult for Owens later in the run as Paul Travis Sr. gets around Ratliff on the outside.
Yeah, Ratliff falling another spot here, so perhaps he's trying to save a little tire, I don't know, but Paul Travis on the move up to 2nd. Newton stays 4th, Pistol into 5th, Greg Ratliff 6th, Brantley's up 3 into 7th with Torgerson up 4 into 8th.
Yeah, and Dean, I want to highlight, I don't know if you're able to do it, but if you look at the gap between Newton and West Pistol, Pistol has been eating time down. Gradually every lap, and that gap was very large. It's come down about a second over the last 10 laps, and that has been an impressive drive by our 2nd race of the year winner, West Pistol.
Yeah, Pistol just chipping away at it here, so looking really good as he tries to close in on our leaders. Newton coming up on Ratliff now.
Yeah, we talked about at the beginning of the race, Dean, you kind of segued it in. We have a lot of data on a bunch of drivers for this track last year. Same circumstances, almost same temperature as we had last time we were here, a little bit cooler, or a little bit warmer, I should say. But the one driver we don't have information on is Jason Ratliff. He was missing this race because of the birth of his child. So don't have any information on how Jason Ratliff likes this track, but it's going to be interesting to see if this is him taking it a little bit easy or if there's more problems at play there for the 55 machine.
Yeah, it looks like he's struggling a little bit here, Jared, as Newton getting underneath him right now. Newton trying to push the issue, can't get the power down though. Ratliff will hold him off. I'm so interested, Jared, to see how this plays out as we go on. So many guys get in a rhythm. They want to run that same line. You know, we're all seeing everybody on that low line. Who's going to move up to the higher side where, you know, the track, you're not going to get as much tire wear, apparently, according to the update.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be something that, you know, I'll be interested to hear from the drivers in our interviews at the end, you know, how that tire wear worked, because I have not had a chance to do any laps, so I don't know how this is going to work. You know, I don't know how it's going to look. I just know what it looks like from the pre-release.
Yeah, absolutely. A little foreign to me, too. Right now, Chris Owens, your early leader. Travis in second. Owens starting to get away. We've seen this before, Jared.
Yeah, and Owens has been, you know, a driver, Dean, this year that if you look at the stats, you would say that's our point leader. And for all intents and purposes, he probably could be. He's got the highest driver rating out of everybody, 124.5. Absurd numbers, Dean. He has an average running position of 1.2. So where's the catch? Well, he DNF'd at Charlotte, got in a little bit of an incident under caution, and he got himself penalized last week at Texas on his own volition. And Dean, that's tough when you clearly have been one of the strongest cars in the field and you have no results to show for it.
Yeah, he's really been snake bitten as of late. You know, him and Ratliff developing a little bit of a history as well, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, and you know, and I think, Dean, you know, we talk about this, and we've talked about it every week. When you're battling for a championship, the guys that you're battling with every race and every week, and especially the long-term picture, inherently they become your rivals, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is with rivals, you know this too, Jared. Once you have an incident or two with someone, it seems like the gods put you together on the track week in, week out. You can't get away from them. You may not even really have a rivalry. You may not even really want to fight them. But it just seems like you can't get away from them.
100%, Dean. And, you know, I want to know, like, from you as a perspective, you know, with all those, you know, championship battles you've been in, how does that affect you behind the wheel?
Well, it actually does, you know, and not much does for me, but that does. It wears on you. It's the same guy. You look in your mirror, for instance, if you're out front, and you're like, God, not him again. You know how he's going to run you. You know how hard he's going to make you fight for it, and it wears on you. So mental toughness, you know, stick-to-itness, it's all going to come into play when this happens. And I think you'll see it here again tonight at some point. Right now, Pistol and Torgerson going at it.
Yeah, and great battle back there. I mean, Torgerson, Dean, you know, he was battling back there probably around, I think it was about 12th or 13th. He's pushed himself to 6th position and been one of the faster drivers on track. And Dean, we talked about Paul Travis earlier being very good at this track no matter what car he's in. Torgerson is also very good at this track as well. He finished 3rd last time we were here. He started 15th the last time we were here. So don't have any doubt that Troy Torgerson will find himself toward the front before this thing's done.
Yeah, long way to go, but he has up 6 spots into 6th place. So definitely having a good run so far. Early going, lap 28 of 145. Not sure on the mileage here. We got any fuel mileage numbers, Jared?
Yeah, we look at last time's race. We only had one green flag pit stop. It was around lap 70 to 80. Then we had a caution shortly after that, if my notes are correct. So that's only fuel data I have.
All right,
or
so
pit data.
Looks like a one-stopper here. Guys who went out too hard, perhaps, going to burn them up. You see Jason Ratliff, he's down 3 spots into 4th. Is that on purpose, Jared?
Well, it could be. I mean, he might be thinking long term, like maybe I can get these guys back on the long run. And sometimes as a driver, if you don't feel like you have the short term pace, you got to figure out, can I make something work on the long run? And maybe that's what the 55 machine's doing.
Yeah, I think he probably is. Newton just has taken over 2nd. So Paul Travis down to 3rd. Newton will set sail maybe and try to get up to Owens, but Owens is gone. He is 1.8 seconds out there. I mean, when Owens loves a track, man, he is really good.
Well, what track hasn't he loved so far this year, Dean? I mean, we already talked about the driver rating. We already talked about the average running position. But something I do want to point out, he's led 217 laps this year, Dean. The next closest guy is Jason Ratliff. He's led 74.
Yeah, wow. I mean, like you said earlier on, not a lot to show for it.
Yeah, I mean, average finishing position of 17th. So not the year that Owens, I think, wants to have. But, Dean, as a driver, and you can speak to this more than I can, when you're having those ruts, how does that affect you knowing you've had really good races as we see some battling inside the top 5 as Torreson gets under Travis?
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, you just don't know what else he can do, right? You start to look up to the sky and start praying, give me a little bit of luck here. And the problem is, Jared, you get some bad luck, and I think it's fair to say he's had some of that. But then you start to compound things, negative builds negative, positive builds positive. So that's why we say sometimes, maybe back it down, get a 5th place finish, get something positive under your belt.
And we saw last week with that pit road speeding penalty that undid his race and ended up causing to finish around 17th or 18th position. And hopefully tonight he can get on and off pit road without any issues, because I know he probably wants a good run at least.
Greg Ratliff currently in 7th. He's down a couple, all alone on the track though. Looks pretty good. Ripka has moved up 7 into 8th. So watch him. He was last week's winner. Brantley, that big possum, right there in 9th. Then the Toadman in 10th. You got Tony Ratliff and Claus Williams starting to move. He's up 4 now, Jared, into 12th.
Yeah, and you look at those drivers, Ripka and Klaus Williams involved in the second and third, the second caution of the race last time we were here, and the last caution of the race that was here last year. Both those drivers qualified inside the top 10, Dean. And you look at that data, I mean, Ripka was really solid in this race last year, so I expect him to continue moving forward. Klaus Williams, another guy you don't want to sleep on. He might sneak up on you toward the end of this race.
We just saw Ross Weiss chase the car down the track, got really loose there. These cars perhaps starting to go away here on lap 37. Spear right behind him. He's up 3, and there's Walker in 16th, Jared. He's got a long way to get to the front.
Yeah, and he was the pole sitter last time we were here. He led 20 laps, finished 5th, and ran around 5th position all night long here last time we were here. But tonight it is just not working out, Dean. And we've seen this with the Gen 4 car. So I want to know, do you think it's because he qualified out back and he's just not able to pass? Or do you think maybe there's just something not working here tonight with this update?
No, I think you got it. Like, qualifying out back, so tough. We've seen it already. Tough to pass here tonight. I think he's got his work cut out. Now, you just said he got the pole. He finished 5th last time. That tells me, he was good, but not great, right? He fell a few spots. So, yeah, he's got his work cut out, but he's a smart driver, long-run driver. I mean, I expect him to, move up towards 10th place by the end of this.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good call. I mean, we did call him the closer last year. I mean, how many times do we see him running outside the top 10 and finish 6th or 7th out of nowhere? So, I mean, I think that's definitely on the marker again tonight. And Dean, real quick, did want to point out the lap times have been starting to go against Chris Owens. 25.9 basically for Owens last time. Newton, Ratliff, and Torgerson all running 6s, with Torgerson the fastest of the 3.
Yeah, I mean, his lead is diminishing. He's lost about a second over the last dozen laps or so. So they're coming, and Jason Ratliff quietly sneaking back up here. I mean, he's played this right. He came out, trying to get the lead or hold the lead. Then he decided, Tony Ratliff through the grass. He's back on the track safely. But, Jason Ratliff backed her down, Jared. He knew. He's like, I'm going too hard. I got to back it down.
Yeah, I feel like I've been asking you a lot of questions, Dean, but I always defer to you on this. That's some wily veteran stuff right there, am I right?
Well, it is, and that's what he does, right? And that's why he's always in these championship battles, and he's there at the end. He can adapt and overcome. We talked about that just on Sunday night with Sheffield. We named him the chameleon because he can adapt so well, and I think Jason's another one who does that well, and he's in a big battle with Newton. Newton not letting him go here. He is pushing him. He's going to ride that outside on him. This is where it gets tough, Jared.
Absolutely, and you look at it right there, there's not a lot of room, and Ratliff made a great late move on Newton, not a dive bomb, but just a late move, and did a good job trying to get alongside of him. But now, can he take what Owens did to him earlier and learn from it? Right now, Newton doing a really good job, just giving him just enough space to be there, but otherwise, it looks like Newton's going to clear him off turn 4. That's going to allow Torgerson now to have striking distance on the 55 machine.
Yeah, Torgerson looking very, very good here. I mean, Iowa known for the slide job. Will we see it here tonight, Jared?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we didn't see it the first time we were here, and the reason being is because we don't have that high side working the way it used to, right? So it's harder to slide job somebody when they're only a half lane up above you. So it will be interesting to see as this race goes on if we do have a little bit more of that going on. But right now, I don't know. I think that, you know, you're just trying to battle to stay alongside somebody at this point.
I'm a little surprised nobody's moved out of the groove. I mean, there was so much talk about it with this update, and you see Newton kind of creeping up a little bit here. I talked to him earlier. He's talking about running the middle groove, you know, not moving up too high, and he was doing that in 3 and 4, and you see him down in 1 and 2. He's still on the bottom, Jared.
Yeah, and you know, Dean, the one thing I will say is, you know, I look back at lap number 2, which, I mean, I know you can't do that, but I can definitely tell where the track has rubbered in a lot more than I have in the past. Now, it's not massive, but I can tell that there is some rubbering and some degradation going on with the groove. And you look at it, Chris Owens really opening up that turn and running right on the seam between the new pavement and the old pavement, Dean. And I just wonder. I think these guys are starting to look around for a little bit of grip, Dean. I think it is starting to come into play here.
Yeah, definitely. You see Ratliff move up the track as well. So those two moving up. Newton staying down low right now. Oh, Newton powering down. Owens could not get the power down on the high side. Newton to the front. The rifleman trying to come through on the bottom as well. Owens trying to regroup.
Newton with a strong move, and you know, I love to see this from Newton. He's such an underrated driver, and I think he's a little bit hard on himself too, Dean. I don't want him to hear that, but I think he, if he just be a little bit more positive toward himself, I think he would be in better position sometimes, Dean. But right now, the 2 machine up front, the Bulldog.
Brantley onto pit road, so he's going to do a 2-stopper here. My goodness, we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, I mean, Newton too hard on himself? I don't know. I want to make jokes and say he should be harder on himself, Jared. Here comes Torgerson, so Owens is fading. And something with Owens is we've seen him go out hard a lot. Not too often we see him fade from it, Jared.
Yeah, and we said to circle that, right? We said when we saw him go out front like that, we said, hey, circle this and let's come back to it. And I think now you're seeing that, hey, these tires are reacting differently, at least to how Owens used to drive the car compared to what it is tonight at Iowa anyway.
Yeah, absolutely they are. Jason Ratliff continuing to hound the Bulldog.
And Newton's doing a good job. He's putting his car right there, but Ratliff, great run through the center of turn 1 and 2, but he just can't get the power down on Exodine because the seam kind of dies off there. We got more drivers on pit road, Dean, so pit stops earlier. I think that's Eric Whiting on pit road.
Yeah, Eric Whiting in. Oh, and Ratliff's got the outside. This is what he wants, Jared. This is what I was going to say. He wants to get to the outside. Newton trying to run him up just a little bit. Jason Ratliff going to get the power down a little better. You can see Newton loose, chasing it down the track. Back to the lead, Jason Ratliff.
And that's the thing, you know, Dean, if we can highlight that too, is how that pavement breaks away, right? On the high side, there is a seam of old pavement as you exit the corner. On the low side, the new pavement dies out pretty quickly. And you saw right there, Jason Ratliff was able to keep his car in the new pavement for a longer duration than Ab Newton was. When Newton tried to get to the power like he had been, he was in the old pavement and couldn't get the throttle down.
I'm telling you, I'm seeing all these cars wiggling. Torgerson, Newton, both wiggling. Newton was doing it on the straightaway, so the car's becoming unstable here. That's why you're seeing some guys pit, or a couple of them. And Owens!
Oh my goodness, Chris Owens is wrecking, or something.
Completely lost it on entry there into the wall. That'll be a little bit, and he's still losing it.
Yeah, this is uncharacteristic from Chris Owens, and I just wonder if he's overheated that tire. That's something the patch notes emphasize, Dean, is the heat transfer and the scrubbing of the tire, and I just wonder if he's maybe pushed those tires too hard going that fast so early.
Man, we are on board with Owens, and I got to tell you, this car, these tires are upset, Jared.
Man, oh man, this is making it a little bit interesting from my perspective, Dean. Just seeing this thing go all upside down.
I mean, he can barely hang on to this thing. I don't know if Owens can do another 20 laps out here on this rubber. You might see him come in. Shane Fleming comes in right now.
Well, if he's hemorrhaging a second a lap. I mean, Ratliff did a 25.8 as the leader. Owens, the previous lap, did a 26.6. And now it just did a 26 flat. So, I mean, these are not good lap times for Chris Owens. And Pistol was actually a little bit quicker than him, Dean. So, man, this has really changed the shape of this race.
Yeah, this is not good for the guys who went out hard. Paul Travis, he is fading. Down 8 spots into 11th. He's got Tom Ashley and Tony Ratliff coming through right now. So he's going to battle with Tony Ratliff here. My goodness. I mean, these guys who are great tire savers, they are going to move forward here tonight.
Yeah, the wily vets are going to come out to play. And you see 3 of them up front with Torgerson, Newton, and Jason Ratliff. And, don't count out the big dog, Greg Ratliff, who is putting in a little bit of time onto West Pistol for a top 5. So Greg might be sneaking back up in this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've talked about this before, Jared. Different builds suit different people. The builds don't last forever, and when a new one comes in, there'll be new drivers, that struggle and some that thrive. So we look for that tonight. Some, of course, like our leader, Jason Ratliff, I don't know what kind of track it would take to slow him down. Torgerson in a battle with Newton for second.
Yeah, maybe a road course. I don't know how he is on the road.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't bet against him.
Torgerson trying his best against Newton there, and I think these guys are on teams, so you want to race your teammate a little bit more conservatively, but yeah, that's tough. They're battling for second position, but Jason Ratliff has really put on a good pace, Dean, and I just wonder if he's felt like, and this is something that you could probably attest to a little bit more. If somebody's really pushing the pace and you're like, I don't know about that. I think Ratliff had that idea in his head and he said, I don't know about that. Maybe I'm just 5th place tonight, and backed off. And that might have been the difference maker if this race plays out the way it is right now.
Yeah, we've seen that from him. He's comfortable backing out and giving up a few spots. I mean, he likes to get out front with the clean air because clean air is king. But if he can't do that and do it quickly, he will back it down. He will be patient, paying dividends here. You can see Torgerson's heated up the tires, and now he throws it back in there. So this is very interesting to me, Jared. Look at the tires on Torgerson.
Yeah, just fighting that car the entire time, fighting it, and it's just not listening at all. And out in the chat, Darren Bruce is just in awe. He's like, wow, is this the result of that new dynamic track? And Darren, I don't know for sure. I haven't had a chance to test it, but just from a up here in the booth perspective, I think it is. And I'll be, like I said earlier, be very interested to see what these drivers have to say about how this track changed through the race. Because to me, Dean, it looks like it's changing in a heartbeat, and you really have to adapt every single lap.
Oh, yeah. This is all about the update. I mean, hot track, hot and slick. It was going to be somewhat like this, but no. This is definitely from the update. Guys are going to have to adapt and adjust. Like I said, Jason Ratliff, he's not having much of a problem.
Yeah, let's look at these lap times on the run, Dean. So I just picked Adam Newton. He may not have the fastest lap of the race, but he has a decent. Oh, we got somebody wrecking. It's Chris Owens. He's hit the inside wall, and Owens in the 26. Another race and another issue for the 26 machine.
Wow. No caution either. Holy cow. Travis on pit road. I can't believe what I caught there. Let's get a replay on this. All right, Owens coming out of 4. Looks good, and then the car just goes away, overcorrect, up into the wall, down through the grass, and hard lick.
Yeah, that's a tough lick, and I just hate it. I feel like we've commentated cursed him, talking about his bad luck, and he has more bad luck tonight. Paul Travis, by the way, has retired. It doesn't look like any damage, maybe some mechanical, if you will, issues for the 88 machine.
Wow, tough racing out here tonight.
Uh,
Looks like...
But before, go ahead.
No, you please.
I was say before that happened, we were talking about fall off, Dean, and Adam Newton did a 24.4 to start the race off on lap 2. Adam Newton last time by, well actually we'll wait until this lap right here. He did a 25.8, so 1.5 seconds of fall off, Dean. Last time we were in Iowa, all right, I want to make this abundantly clear. We did 23 threes to start off, so that is obviously a difference, but we only dropped into the 24 twos by the end of the run.
Yeah, it's had a major difference. I wonder what it's going to be like in the other cars. Pistol now up into 4th. He's up 2 on the night, and he's running pretty decent times right there with the top 4. Klaus Williams, he's up 11, Jared, so something's clicking with the 16.
Yeah, and we talked about, we said that's a guy to watch out for at the end of the race. Very good at Iowa as well, has a lot of really good runs, especially in the Xfinity car here. I mean, I remember a race that we commentated maybe last year where he was ripping the fence on the old Iowa and just making up gobs of time. So don't put it past Klaus Williams to see a top 5 here tonight.
Other movers here tonight, Jason Spear. You'd expect him to adapt to, being a calm race car driver. He's in 11th. Michael Walker, all of a sudden up to 12th. Herb Ashley back in 14th. He's up 5. And Robert Lapreme up 6 into 15th.
A great run for Lapreme. And, another guy I want to talk about, Dean, is the Toad Man. I mean, I gave him some props the other week, and I was off. I looked at the wrong car and got mixed up. But he's running 8th place, and he has been 8th place all night. I know Todd has been trying to improve and work on his driving, but I think this is legitimately, and I'm not trying to, blow him up because he's the league admin or anything like that. I think this is legitimately one of his better runs of the race because he's been 8th place, 7th place all night long, Dean. He hasn't fallen off. He's just kind of been running his race, and that's what Todd Gilly needs to do to get better.
And he's been getting better. We've seen more consistency out of the Toad Man as of late. So here, a good run so far.
Now Dean, we got this the interchangeability, right? We have some drivers on new tires, some drivers on old tires. Now, I want to be abundantly clear. These drivers made one pit stop last week. Typically at Iowa, you can do 90, maybe even 100 laps. Usually it's not, pit stops aren't really a big issue in Iowa. You usually have enough fuel. You do have to make a stop. But so I do want to make it clear that some of these guys that pitted early might be just have decided to pit early to try to maybe make something happen on strategy. Whereas they still can make it to the end of the race. So I don't think any of these drivers are looking at a 2-stop unless the tires start to fall apart.
Yeah, I think it was handling issues. They just wanted some fresh rubber.
Yep.
Right now, Jason Ratliff got almost a 2-second lead over the Bulldog. Torgerson in 3rd. Pistol up to 4th. Klaus Williams up now 11 spots into 5th, and Brantley there on some fresh rubber. The Toad Man we just talked about, he's on pit road.
Gilly pitting on lap 18 here, sorry, lap 74. I don't know where I got lap 18 from, but either way, Dean, you look at the top 3, the gap has expanded between all 3 of these drivers. Torgerson and Newton battled for about 3 or 4 laps, and ever since that battle happened, neither of them have been able to put the pace down to match Jason Ratliff up front. And I just wonder if they maybe slid the tires just a little bit as Greg Ratliff and Jason Spear hit pit road.
Yeah, we were watching Greg Ratliff come in, Jared, and just kind of nudge those barrels. I mean, holy cow, that was close.
And so far, we have not had any penalties, so I'll be keeping a track of that. We've had last week, the penalty gates opened up and started to flood RGR.
Oh, and we got on pit road, Tony Ratliff and Ripka came out of nowhere from the side. I don't even know where he came from. Got a little piece of Ratliff, but they're both safe.
That was really tight now that I replay it.
Torgerson comes screaming onto pit road. That looked good. We're going to go on board with our race leaders, see if we can't catch him coming to pit road.
Gap now 2.2 seconds back to Adam Newton, Dean. That is impressive. what's going on here. Ratliff's going to stay out another lap. So is Newton.
These guys will battle to try and go long here.
And you'll lose, Dean. You look at these guys coming off pit road there. I want to emphasize, you'll lose a lap and a half to the race leader, depending on where you're at on the track. As you see, he goes by Mike Walker and all those guys. Those guys will cycle back around, but you do lose a lap by pitting and everybody else staying out.
Oh yeah, massive amount. We'll see what they gain in track position. You see Ripka all over our leader here. He's already pitted. Here comes Herb Ashley. He gets her in there. And Tony Ratliff coming back on pit road. I think that means he got a penalty, Jared.
Well, I was looking, Dean. If he got a penalty, it was on exit. His pit lane time was fine on my end, so it must have been a speeding on exit thing.
See Jason
Which is the
Spear.
worst one, in my opinion.
Pardon me?
That's the worst penalty to get, in my opinion, too.
Exiting?
Speeding, exiting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally on the driver, right? The last time I got a speeding penalty, Jared, I just looked at the guy in front of me and I was trying to catch him at a Daytona. Totally ignored it. I don't know what I was doing, about 10 miles over. 10 miles an hour over.
Yeah, the exit one sucks because, like, you've made your pit stop. You've gotten on pit road. You made your pit stop. And you blow it heading off pit road. And you have to come back on pit road, make sure everything's unchecked. Otherwise, you get, the 40-second penalty instead of the normal 15-second. And it undoes your whole race. Yes, the entry one does too, but at least you're sitting in the pits when it happens.
All right.
Jason Ratliff still staying out here.
Yeah, they're still out. Ratliff, Newton, Claus Williams up to third. Pistol into fourth. You got Weiss out here. And I think that's it. 5 cars still out on the track.
Yeah, that's my count as well, Dean. And we do, Tony Ratliff, he came back in, and Dean, I don't know. I think he sped again on the pit road again on entry because he had over a minute pit stop. But I was also thinking, Dean, I wonder if he got damage and had to get that thing fixed. Maybe he tried to opt out of the damage, went on the track, and the car was just not handling right because he did get some contact from Ripka.
Man, things can compound so quickly here racing on iRacing. Jason Ratliff, your leader, he has opened up a 3-second lead now.
And Klaus Williams on pit road from 5th.
What do you do
that'll leave
if you're
5 drivers?
If you're Adam Newton, what do you do here, Jared? I mean, he's got to make up 3 seconds. He knows Ratliff's so good on the long run.
Yeah, I think you're in a bad spot, but he's coming in, so it doesn't matter.
There you go. Decision made. The Bulldog heads to pit road. I think that'll bring in Jason Ratliff. Let's go on board and see.
Pistol just now getting into turn 1. I mean, that is a big gap that Ratliff has. And here he comes.
Looked pretty smooth on board. Good stop by Jason Ratliff.
Yeah, that was a textbook Iowa entry, in my opinion, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, a little calm, right? Easy, but I mean, these cars, there's not a lot left on these tires. You got to be a little gentle.
Yeah, I think these tires have really been eaten up tonight. I mean, fall off, Dean, 2 seconds right now with Pistol at 26.4. And Ratliff's last lap before he pitted was also in the 26s. So he found his number and he went to pit road.
You see Newton coming off pit road, merging back in 10th place. There's Jason Ratliff. He is going to slip down to at least 5th. I think that's where he'll stay.
Pistol still staying out, but he is in a bad spot, in my opinion, Dean, because all these faster cars on newer tires are all over him, and he has found himself in a massive hornet's nest while also trying to hold off Ross Weiss, who is not that far behind him.
Yeah, he can't pit now. He can't even get down to the bottom, Jared.
Yeah, and this is one of those things you want to stay out, you want to try to get the track position, all those things. But boy, when those guys on faster tires are just running up on you, you are moving chicane, and you can get yourself in a lot of problems there if you're not careful and don't have some other people paying attention behind you.
Yeah, that's one thing about being off sequence.
And here he
comes. You got to deal with him now, and then when you come out, you got to pass them all again, so you're going to be in heat all night. Ross Weiss takes over the lead, so the 41, your new race leader, he's got an 11-second lead over Torgerson, but he still has to pit. So Troy Torgerson, with that pit stop, let's see when he came in here, Jared. Torgerson on lap 76, so somehow, some way, Torgerson's got the lead, and he's got a pretty decent lead, 4 seconds over Brantley, and almost 7 over Jason Ratliff. Holy cow.
Yeah, and I look at the pit lane times. I mean, on my end, he was about a second quicker than Adam Newton, about half a second quicker than Greg Ratliff and Jason Ratliff. Brantley on an older tires had about the same time, but Troy Torgerson did a very quick pit stop, Dean, and that's picked him up a decent chunk of time.
Now, he was in 10 laps earlier than the Rifleman, who's 6 seconds back. He will likely run him down, but who knows, Jared? Claus Williams just set his fastest lap of the race.
And he's going around the outside of our race leader right now, Ross Weiss, who's found himself in the Hornet's Nest. He is still not pitted. The other driver that hasn't pitted is Rachel Hunt. She's running in 15th. She had already lost a lap earlier in the race. And here comes Ross Weiss, now our final lead lap driver to come in pit road.
All right, the 41 on pit road. Torgerson assumes the lead, already down to about 5.5 seconds over Brantley. Right behind him, the Rifleman coming.
Yeah, and let me look at this telemetry as it comes up here. So Ratliff 5.7, 5.8 seconds behind. That's not a very big gap at a short track when you have a 10-lap tire advantage. So I think Troy Torgerson right now, if he's conserved some tires, Dean, that's the key. If Troy Torgerson has not gone out there and done blistering laps and he has some in the tank, what he's hoping for, Dean, is the fall-off point to reach the same lap at the same time, and he'll be able to race with Jason Ratliff. But he had to have been super conservative on those tires early in the run.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, he'll be trying. I don't know if he can hold off the Rifleman. What can Newton do? He's back and forth. He's about a little over 2 seconds behind Jason Ratliff right now, working on Brantley. He's got Tony Ratliff in between him and Jason Ratliff as well.
Yeah, everything's starting to cycle out, as you see right there. I think that is Ross Weiss just ahead of our race leader, or that's Wes Pistol just ahead of our race leader, Dean, and he had a bad pit stop. He started off this race. He came in 5th, but he was one of our last pitters, so he will cycle back around eventually, but it's going to take him a little bit more time.
Yeah, going to take quite a bit of time. He's 7 seconds to, a bunch of cars, to be honest with you. There is Tom Ashley, Jason Spear, Eric Whiting. So Whiting was in really early. He gave him a lot of track position. He could use a caution, though, Jared.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is some of these guys were gambling on maybe a caution. Like I said, last time we were here, Dean, we had 3 cautions in this event, and they all came after the first set of pit stops. So, that is something to keep an eye on in this race. We still have a lot of time to go. The only difference is we had just a handful more drivers. We had about 5 more drivers last time. But otherwise, I don't really see a caution developing because everybody's so spread out now.
Yeah, it's very spread out. Rachel Hunt on pit road. She'll come in. Torgerson's lead down to 4.5 seconds over the Rifleman. Newton, he shaved a second trying to chase down Jason Ratliff, but he's burning that stuff up as well.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? I mean, I think, he's got to conserve tires as well, because Torgerson, is banking on him using the tires up before he gets to them.
Very interesting, Jared. I haven't seen anybody really change their line. I thought we'd see that. A little more high line or middle line, looking for grip, looking for less tire wear, but they're all sticking to their line.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, is that everybody's kind of like, maybe they're just a little nervous. I think the problem is we've heard these things before, right? And I don't want to be critical here on the broadcast, but we've heard a lot of things in the past. And I think people are like, well, I don't know. I don't want to be the guy to try that. I want to let things kind of play out. And maybe if I get to the point, I'll try it later. But I don't want to try it now. I don't want to be the first guy to do that.
I mean, opportunity opened up for someone to try it. Right now, Torgerson still leading. Ratliff coming in a hurry. Eric Whiting back on pit road.
Torgerson doing a good job. I mean, 25.2s, that's not a bad lap time for this point in the race. Gap 4.2 to Jason Ratliff. I don't think, Dean, with 43 to go, I don't think there's a lot of hope that Torgerson can hold him off, but there is still a long way to go. A lot of things can happen, and it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially if Torgerson continues to kind of maintain that trajectory of the tires running off at the same time, and that's what he's hoping for.
Right now we look in on Greg Ratliff, right behind him Lance Ripka. These two having a nice run, but Ripka up 10, Jared. He's moved into 5th.
Yeah, I mean, Lance Ripka, no surprise, right? I mean, he is another driver that's really good at Iowa, and you see just how much he's willing to kind of put it out there. And I think he's been one of the drivers kind of moving around, figuring out this track. But again, Lance Ripka, he's kind of found himself in this Gen 4 car toward the end of last year, and last week got that win. And I think there's going to be some momentum in the 52.
Yeah, and I'd say the same for the 5 here. Greg Ratliff looks very calm. The car looks stable under him. I like what I'm seeing out of the 5, perhaps a return to form for Greg Ratliff.
Yeah, and I think Greg would be the first to tell you the last season didn't go probably as well as he had hoped overall, but I tell you, this season, I mean, he's 4th in points. He's finished in the top 10 every race this year. He looks on pace to do that again today, so that would be a great turnaround in itself for the big dog.
And don't look now, the Toad Man in 6th place. So the 19, let's see when he pitted. The Toad Man was lap 73, so a little bit early on the pit stop, Jared, but holy cow, up to 6th here.
Yeah, and I think Klaus Williams will pass him because he's got 10-lap tire advantage just by that alone. But otherwise, I mean, I think he's competitive with Michael Walker, Tom Ashley, Jason Spear, and Wes Pistol. Or sorry, not Wes Pistol. But so I think that there is a potential that Todd Gilly can maybe get out of this thing losing one spot.
Possibly could do it. There's Klaus Williams coming into the picture. He's up 9. Michael Walker also up 9 spots into 8th. We talked about it at the beginning. I think he started 16th, Jared. We said he'd probably get into the top 10. Here he is into 8th.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. The one thing I do want to highlight is Wes Pistol pitted on lap 89. Ross Weiss pitted on lap 92. So when you put those things together, they do have a 15, almost 20 lap advantage on a couple drivers. So that is something to bear in mind as we continue this race, that they can still make moves and still pass some drivers here toward the end of this race. The only thing is Ross Weiss is trapped a lap down. Torgerson loosed in the straightaway, Dean. What the heck?
He was through the grass, drives high into the corner. Luckily, no one around. He gathers it up, but he lost some time. Ratliff now 1.5 seconds behind him.
Yeah, we've seen this happen at a couple of tracks now, Dean. I think these drivers are being so aggressive on that throttle and maybe putting wheel into it or something. I don't know, but man, oh man, that was a heck of a save, but it could have been disastrous. I think that's exactly what happened to Chris Owens earlier.
Yeah, and right at the start-finish line, Jared, I mean, he was patient with the throttle, waited, then got on the full throttle at the start-finish line. The rear end still came around on him.
Yeah, and although I don't know, Dean, I've heard some mixed opinions on this. I do think you have to kind of feather the throttle on the straightaway as the race goes on, and I think some of these drivers have been caught out by that.
Absolutely. There's a look at the Bulldog. He's fading a little bit off of Jason Ratliff. No big surprise. He was in a lap earlier and pushing pretty hard to catch him. Torgerson still holding on to the lead. The Rifleman chasing. Greg Ratliff in 4th. Lance Ripka up to 5th. The Toadman into 6th, looking strong. Claus Williams is coming, though. He's in 7th. Walker 8th. There is Pistol. You talked about him. He's got fresher rubber. He's moved past Spear, past Tom Ashley. So now he's got work to do to catch up to the rest. Tom Ashley, solid run, up 3 into 10th. Jason Spear holding on. He's up 7.
Yeah, Jason Spear, the last car on the lead lap, he's only about 4 seconds ahead of our race leaders, Dean, in 11th position. And when the race leaders get there, and they will get there before the end of this race, there's going to be a whole group of cars as they're starting to consolidate their 9th, 10th, and 11th, all kind of next to each other, Dean.
All right. Torgerson trying to regroup after looking for some John Deere sponsors there.
Well, you look at the lap times. I mean, honestly, Dean, he took that spill through the front straightaway. But the lap times, I mean, he has done a good job holding that car steady.
He really has. I've noticed all of a sudden Jason Ratliff really not catching him that quick. Very interesting. Whiting now underneath a Ratliff.
Yeah, he's 2/10 slower that lap. Newton was a 10th slower. So Torgerson, you know, I would like to have seen what would have happened had he still had that gap. Because he did lose about 2 seconds, Dean. But, man, in the 89 machine, I mean, he came to play, Dean.
Absolutely he did. Pit road maneuver, early pit stop. Can Torgerson pull it off? We're down to 30 to go.
And, you know, Doyle Lawrence is cheering that one on out there in the chat. But man, it is going to heat up here as you see. Not, like I said, not too far in front of them is going to be some lap traffic they will encounter. And not to mention the counter lap traffic. Eric Whiting on fresh tires, Ross Weiss on fresh tires. Ross hasn't made a lot of progress through here, so I think he's conservative, doesn't want to get involved in the race battle for the lead. So I think he's probably comfortable running where he's at. But Eric Whiting has been trying to make moves and get at least one of his laps back.
Battle developing here for 5th place. He got Ripka, the Toadman, and Claus Williams right there. Walker also closing in. There's a look at Shane Fleming on pit road.
A great battle back here. I mean, Gilly right in the thick of it, and he's a little bit loose off the corner with Claus Williams there as well.
Look at that car dance around, Jared. I don't remember seeing that. I mean, on the straightaways, on entry, these cars are very unstable.
Yeah, and I don't know, you know, if it's a setup thing, if it's the track temperature, you know, there could be a lot of things playing the part of it. But, boy, it's making some entertaining racing up here. But I'm sure those guys that are driving tonight are sweating.
Here comes the big possum, Jason Brantley. He's looking to get a lap back, so he's down in 14th, a lap down. He's going to try and get around this group that we're watching right now. Toadman gets a piece of the wall.
Yeah, Brantley made a second pit stop on lap 99, so he did go for the 2-stopper, and you know, Dean, if the tires are falling off the way they have, I don't think it's going to be a race-winning move by any means, but I think it is going to be a move that might play out for him to maybe sneak a top 10. I wouldn't be surprised, but he's going to have to do a lot of work here.
Well, he's going to have more fun than everybody else. That's one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That is true.
So Torgerson, oddly enough, still with a 1.1 second. So this has been about 10 laps with no progress for Jason Ratliff. I mean, did Torgerson pull it off? I mean, maybe going through the grass, Jared. Maybe it cooled his tires off. Who knows?
You say that, but I you know, there have been some tire oddities on the service that would not be super surprising to me if that did happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a true possibility. I mean, I don't think so, but maybe. Rachel Hunt on the pit road here. Newton in 3rd. He's about 3 seconds back. Greg Ratliff all alone. Well, actually, Ripka trying to catch up to him here. So they're pretty even on their lap times as Ripka continues to hold off the Toad Man. And Claus Williams, who's making such progress, he cannot get by the Toad Man, though.
Yeah, Gilly doing a great job, and that battling is allowing Michael Walker with a little bit of a tire disadvantage to catch back up. Now, remember, out of all these drivers we're talking about, Todd Gilly has the oldest tires, so he's doing everything he can to make sure that he's put himself in a good position. But the lap times are good from the 19 machine. He is still on pace with the 52 of Ripka, who has fresher tires than him.
These two still going at it. This battle for 6th position. Walker coming in, the closer, as you've named him.
And Walker up into 8th position. He can pick up a couple spots here, just chop him off at the end. Like he always does, and end up with a 6th position or maybe even a 5th place here tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised by it.
Well, and Pistol in that same boat here with 21 to go. He is back in 9th, about 3.5, 4 seconds back of this battle, but he's got way fresher tires.
Yeah, he does, and that's going to be as long as he hasn't overdone it, I think that's going to be a huge play for him as this run goes on. But right now, Dean, I'm looking at this battle for the lead, and Eric Whiting is there on Torgerson, but Whiting has not made any inroads to passing Torgerson. And Whiting is 2 laps down. He's in 16th. He passed Jason Ratliff, but he has not tried to pass Troy Torgerson at all. And I just wonder if maybe just a little bit of having that other car there, Dean, has affected the 55 machine.
Well, I think you're right, Jared. I think it has. I mean, I think we're seeing everything affect everybody. You see there, Jason Ratliff loose off the corner, chasing the car down the track. So I think these guys, there's a bit of a learning curve here tonight.
Oh, Torgerson loose too, right there. And I find it interesting. I think a lot of guys, are watching the broadcast trying to learn and try to, apply and say, hey, is this going to happen for the next car that I got coming up? Or, I need to be prepared for this. And I just wonder, how this is going to affect things moving forward. Iowa, in my opinion, not a great example of a new tire model because of the way the track is now. But tonight's been pretty interesting to watch.
It really has. Guys really had a handful out here. And as you know, Jared, when the cars are hard to drive, slick surface, it usually goes green. This is the way it is. Contrary to what most people believe, these are the green flag races. And, man, it's tough. No time to relax, no time to gather up. These boys are going to be sweating here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, last time we were here, we had 3 cautions for 8 laps. And tonight, no cautions. We could have had one. Chris Owens wrecking down the front straightaway should have probably brought out a caution, but unfortunately nobody was there, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at that. But no cautions tonight, no re-racks. Everybody's been really good on their P's and Q's as we're under 15 to go at the line.
15 to go. We jump on board with Jason Ratliff, now 6/10 back. Closes in a lot right there.
And you're looking right there. I mean, Whiting isn't doing anything wrong, but I will tell you this, Dean. When you're focused on trying to make a run, and he's going to get out of the way. So there you go. I think he thought he could get maybe one of his laps back, but he decided against it and has conceded the spot to Ratliff. So I wonder if Ratliff will start to pick up some time now.
He's got to, Jared. 14 to go. He might need 5 laps to get a pass done. He's got to get there now.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. We've seen some moves happen in this race. Not in this race, but at these kind of tracks where the high line is so dominant. You cannot let Ratliff get to your outside if you're Troy Torgerson. Do whatever you can. Close the door. Hug the outside line. Do not allow the 55 machine to get to your outside, because the second he does, you are probably finished. And I hate to say that, but I just don't think that you can battle back on the inside unless you try to slide him.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because we have talked about that very thing with Troy Torgerson in the past. He does not like moving off his spot, and I don't think you'll see it. He is not going to move to the high side. He will run this lane and this lane only. So Jason Ratliff will have the high side available to him.
Yeah, I thought maybe we had talked about this with Troy Torgerson, but I couldn't remember exactly. But he's going to have to do a little defensive driving. But the lap times, Dean, I mean, he was 2/10 quicker than Jason Ratliff last lap. At this time the lap times are, about a little less than a tenth favorable to Jason Ratliff. Didn't pick up a whole lot, but just a little bit. So this lap time right now, ebbing and flowing with 10 to go.
Yeah, it really is. And what I'm noticing is there's not a big difference. Ratliff might be a little faster, but that's not enough to get a pass done. He's going to have to get aggressive, and here he comes, a little loose around the start-finish line. He held on to it.
Yeah, that cost him a lot of time there. Not maybe on the last lap. He was about a tenth quicker than Torgerson last time by, but I think this lap at the line, I think you're going to see that kind of flip back up. I also want to highlight the battle for fourth. Klaus Williams and Greg Rowlett battling hard. Battle for seventh. Todd Gilly and Lance Ripka battling hard there. And don't look now, Dean. We have lap traffic in front of Torgerson, and the lap traffic is going to go high and get out of the way, but it's going to kind of affect Jason Ratliff just a little bit more because he's going to be on the exit. He does slow up enough to let Ratliff go by, but that did cost Ratliff maybe a couple hundreds.
Wow, Troy Torgerson still, I mean, I wouldn't have bet that he had the lead at this point in the race. Torgerson doing a masterful job on a little older tires. So he's holding on and holding off Jason Ratliff.
And this is something, hopefully, I don't want to take credit, but hopefully people have listened to what I've said in the past. If you pit early, don't go out there and run your purple sector laps, all right? Don't go run your fastest lap. Just run a consistent pace and let the guys that pit later fall back to you and have the fall off of the tires reach the same point. Well, this is what Troy Torgerson's done tonight. The fall off is now equal between these two cars. Maybe Ratliff has just a little bit in the tank, but a little bit in the tank isn't going to be enough to make a pass at this track, Dean, as long as you can hold and have enough in the tank on your end too.
Yeah, that's great advice, Jared. I mean, everybody comes out with fast rubber, knows they got to get up there as Ratliff closes in here, trying to hold on to it, and Torgerson's loose on entry. He holds on to it. But great advice. You got to come out and stay calm and not put down those fastest laps. And I told you, he's got the high side on Torgerson. So yeah. Torgerson's work is cut out for him. He's got to stay out front of him.
Yeah, Torgerson had an opportunity to clear himself, and he just didn't take it. And now he's got to take it here. He's got to take it here. He does. He doesn't.
He does.
Okay, I couldn't tell with the building. Sorry.
He does. He doesn't. He does. I mean, that's really what it was. He was a little bit loose and a little bit timid getting up there. I don't blame him. Ratliff with a big run. Now, and again, Torgerson's loose. So he is fighting it. We're on 5 to go.
And this is what you race for, right? This is exactly what you want at the end of the race as a competitor and as people in the booth. I mean, I love this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know who's going to win this thing, but this is going to be an exciting finish.
This is what we live for. This is what it's all about. Jason Ratliff, this time right all over him. And he is helping get Torgerson loose. That's what he's trying to accomplish. I mean, the high side is open, Jared. He's got to sling it in there somehow.
Yeah, I think Jason Ratliff, one of those guys, I don't think he's going to force the issue, right? I just don't see him getting in there and just absolutely throwing one on the outside unless it's coming to the start-finish line, right?
The old shocker, as I've called it. They're in there, down the track. That was a little loose on entry from Ratliff. We've seen that a lot tonight. Wow, Torgerson remaining out front. Coming down to 2 to go for the 89.
And Dean, at this point in time, these drivers, their hands are sweaty, maybe from nerves, maybe from just hustling this car all night. Your heart's beating out of your chest. You're trying to focus on hitting your marks, and you're just like, I just got to hold on for one more lap. If you're Jason Ratliff, you're like, I've got to give it all I got. One more time. White flag in the hand coming off forward.
Here comes Ratliff. He's got to run. Torgerson trying to hang on. Here comes Ratliff on the outside. The 55 going to sling it in on the high side. Torgerson trying to run his line and hold him off. Holy cow, down the back straightaway.
Tight run into 3. Torgerson's going to have to sling it in here. Use him up a little bit off turn 4.
Out of 4, here we go. Torgerson on the bottom. Ratliff up high. Torgerson's loose. Ratliff with a run I don't know who got it. I think Ratliff snuck up there and stole it away.
Yeah, a little bit of clipping on your mic, Dean, but I do believe Ratliff did nudge him at the line, and that was tight. Looks like officially 0.05 of a second.
Wow. Jason Ratliff pulls it off in the last lap. Jared, I can't believe it. Torgerson's got to be sick.
Yeah, and I think, I think that the issue is he got loose the previous lap, Dean, and that's what set him up for a bad entry into turn one. And, he sits on pit road, Dean, and watching Jason Ratliff do those burnouts, and, that's painful because Torgerson, I think for all intents and purposes, played a masterful strategy that is extremely difficult to pay off, and he almost, Dean, almost paid that thing off, and that would have been amazing. But hats off to Jason Ratliff. He saved everything in the tank for a last lap push, and he said, I'm either winning this race or that's it. I don't have anything in the tank. I'm using it all right now.
Man, I didn't think he had it in him. It looked like Torgerson was going to hold him off, and all of a sudden, the rifleman comes in, takes his victory. You can see how happy he is. Holy cow, what a finish. Unbelievable stuff here at Iowa. Let's look in on the results here. You've seen our top two. You got Newton in third, Claus Williams, Greg Ratliff. Walker ends up in sixth, doing what he does, the closer. Lance Ripka in seventh. Todd Gilly with a good run. Pistol comes back to ninth. Tom Ashley in 10th. You can see your favorite driver from there. Wow. What a race.
Yeah, you look at some of these other drivers, you talk about Tony Ratliff with his issues on pit road, ended up 18th. Chris Owens wrecking, tough race for him, finishing 20th. Another race kind of slipping away from him there. And you look at some of these other drivers back here that just didn't have the race that they probably wanted to do. But Dean, hats off to these two drivers. Jason Ratliff has had his work cut out for him. He's won the races, but it hasn't been a walk in the park any of these races so far.
No, it hasn't. And, Owens, my goodness. Yeah, I'm telling you, Chris, I got some advice for you. You got to get a chicken. You got to sacrifice it. This is the only thing left you got to do. It's the way it is. Right now, let's go take a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get some race interviews. Here at Iowa, where Jason Ratliff pulls off the last lap pass and steals the race. Wow. I almost don't want to talk to Troy, Jared. He's going to be sick about it.
Yeah, and, I think it's tough, but at the same time, you have 10 lap older tires, and there is one strategy, and we've talked about it. I don't want to harp on it anymore, but it's conserve your tires as much as you possibly can at the beginning of the run and try to have something in the tank. In my opinion, Troy can hang his head high and say, hey, I did everything I could to hold off somebody on a 10 lap fresher tire advantage, and somebody that was very good in this race and dominated the opening stanza, except when Owens was leading. So, if I was Troy, I'm upset to lose like that, but when I go back and look, that's a heck of a result.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. He did a great job. We bring in another guy who did a great job. That's Adam, the Bulldog Newton, the number 2 machine with a 3rd place finish. Congratulations, Adam.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Okay, a speechless Adam Newton. I think what I'm hearing, Adam, when I hear that kind of out of you, I know there's a little complaints about the vehicle. How did you like the vehicle tonight?
It drove like a tractor with a flat right rear tire. And
Okay.
the tire model made no sense to me. We were just talking about, tire wear and stuff, and you're gonna have to go to the drawing board with this tire wear.
Well,
I
we
was at
talked a
six.
little bit about it, Adam, before the race, and what I was surprised, not only from the field, but yourself as well, because you're kind of aware of it. Did you try some different lines as the race went on?
I did, and my tire wear was 20% more. Well, I had 20% less than Jason or Troy, and was slower. It just threw a curveball. It's nothing like what I expected.
Well, obviously, it'll take a little getting used to and perhaps a little frustrated. Talk a little bit more about this race. I mean, you come off a pit road there and you're trying to run down first Jason Ratliff. Did you go a little too hard too early?
No, I actually babied it, and my tires were even better at this run. And normally, when you have better tires, you would have more speed. And Troy, with the older tires, had more speed than we did with the new tires. Um, like I said, it's throwing me a curveball, but we'll have to adapt and learn and go from there.
That's it. Adapt and overcome. Still a great finish here, Adam, as this season goes on. I mean, are you looking forward to getting back in this thing?
Yeah, I definitely would like to. We'll see what happens and go from there.
All right, non-committal. Even though he bought a charter for $25,000. Anyway, congratulations, Adam, on third. We'll give you the floor, my friend.
I'd like to thank my co-owner Dean Doucette for that $25,000 donation at Wind Tunnel TV Productions. No, seriously, Kylou Glass, East Coast Web Printers, and Live Church. Thank you for their sponsorship. Thank you for the RGR League. Thank y'all for the broadcast, and that was a good finish for Troy, teammate, and good win to Jason. And thank God for another day.
And Adam, if you need the money, you know you can get it from Scott Olson. But anyway, we move on. That was Adam Newton, third place finisher, Jared.
Yeah, yeah, I'm down here with Troy Orson. Troy, let's start at the end of that race, man. Second place. I mean, I think you did a whale of a job, but man, that's got to be a tough way to lose one.
Oh yeah, I'm still thinking about it, man. I was just spinning the rears off that thing. I seen Jason coming, man, and he puts the fear of God in me. That guy's hard to beat, and I was just driving it too hard there towards the end. I let him get on the outside of me there with the last lap. He drove it in pretty deep, and when I couldn't come up out of four there, and the car was loose as heck, I tried to give it everything I got, but just wasn't enough.
Well, I mean, I can hear that you're obviously dejected because I mean that was a heck of a race, a hell of a finish. Let's talk about this race. I mean, it seemed like as we watch this race go on, there was a lot of comers and goers earlier than we've seen. The fall off seemed to be a little bit more. How would you assess this new tire build from your perspective, being the first race on it?
Well, I mean, I thought it was pretty good there. Car's got a lot of horsepower in it. You couldn't be full throttle. Like I said, I was too much into the throttle there at the end. I drove it in too hard a little bit on the first run. Nice and easy. I was able to make up quite a bit of ground there, and I think I was running with the leaders there, 40, 45 laps in to go. Tried to make a couple moves on Adam there and heated up the right front and kind of took it easy there till the pit stop. And I thought it held up pretty good, but man, it was a handful there at the end. Just too much throttle, big horsepower. The tires were just spinning. You straight down the straightaways into the corners. It was like a dirt track tonight.
Yeah, and it looked like it. We saw the cars out of shape, and we also saw you heading for an excursion with the pit wall, but you managed to save it. I mean, that had to be a harrowing experience.
Yeah, I think that mistake right there, like you said, it was a good save and everything, but I think that error on my part there cost me the W. But That's okay. We live to live. We live to live another day. So it was a good run for us.
Yeah, it absolutely was, and a great race. And you think about it, you pitted 10 laps earlier than Jason Ratliff. Did you think that he was going to catch you further, or did you kind of think about, hey, I need to be conservative at the beginning of this run and try to save myself for the end of it because he is going to catch up to me eventually?
Yeah, I knew. I didn't think it was going to be that long after I pitted, but he drove it. You know, like you said, 10 laps later, and I knew he was going to catch me. I was just trying to be smooth and everything and try to build up a lead there. And I think it was working there for a while. I mean, um, yeah, it took all the way to the last lap. I think he caught me with like 3 to go or 2 to go there. And I was snaking it down the stretches. And I think I screwed up his run a couple of different times. But man, yeah, always a pleasure to race with that guy. And in this league, uh, just I'm happy with my second. I got to be happy.
Well, absolutely, Troy. It was a heck of a run. You put on a great finish there at the end and had a great race. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word on your evening here tonight.
All right, thanks, guys. Want to thank WTTV for the broadcast and stuff. Should be an exciting one to watch when I go back to it. Got to thank all the admins in the league for putting this league together, and especially all the drivers. Congratulations again to Jason for a hell of a run tonight, and always a pleasure to race against that guy. I'll go side to side with him anytime. Got to thank all the sponsors. We got Kylou Glass, East Coast Web Printers, and Alive Church doing the series for us, and we wouldn't be able to run without them. Got to thank Doyle. Doyle puts the stickers on the car for me and makes it look great out there. And I think I scraped it up quite a bit on the right side for him tonight. So he's gonna have to redo that one. And yeah, thanks to all the men and women in the U.S. military, man. Everything they do and everything. Love this country, man.
All right, Dean, that was our runner up here tonight, Troy Torgerson by about a nose.
All right, I'm down here with the 55. The rightful man, Jason Ratliff, back in victory lane, stealing it away on the last lap. Congratulations, Jason.
Thank you, Dean. That was it's a hard fought win.
Man, wasn't it though? I mean, you come out, you got 10 lap fresher tires. You had to be thinking, hey, I'll just casually run them down and get up there. You know, Troy goes through the grass at one point, brings you to about a second and a half. You thought, hey, this even helps more. And all of a sudden, he starts to make it really hard on you.
Yeah, tires kind of leveled out there. It's kind of odd the tire fall off, but had to adapt, and it was key to get a good drive off and not too much throttle into it, and just try to not get too close to the back end because it would get them even more loose than it already was.
Absolutely. Like, let's talk about the first run, Jason. You get out there and you're fighting for the lead with Chris, and it looked like, okay, maybe I don't want to have this kind of fight this early. You drop back, maybe about fourth place or something. Were you just trying to cool them down and show some patience there?
Yeah, I didn't really have the best short run car, and that was fine. I was hoping and praying we would have a long race, which we did. So my car really didn't come in until mid run, and I was able to pass him back, but I was kind of worried there for a little bit because I knew fall off wasn't going to be huge. And I didn't want to give too much because then it would be too difficult of a chore to pass him back, and I would just burn up every rubber that I saved. So yeah, it's a give and take. I was trying to save and just not lose too much time at the same time.
And man, the rubber meant a lot out on the track, but it also meant a lot trying to get onto pit road. How dangerous was that tonight?
Well, I took it a lot easier than I did last week, Dean. So safe entry, no spinning or anything. So yeah, it was sketchy. I pushed it in practice, and you'd either miss pit road completely or you just loop it and just lose a whole bunch of time. So yeah, it was key to get on and off pit road safely because even on exit you were loose because you're in third gear coming out, and it's a lot of horsepower on a slick track.
Yeah, absolutely. Hot, slick track, a lot of power. You know, we had the update here today, Jason. A lot of talk about trying to run different grooves. You know, apparently you have more wear on the same groove. Did you experiment at all with trying to drive some different lines?
Um, I did just to avoid dirty air sometimes. I I think you might have to practice all these lines because it's so finicky on throttle on exit that if you had too much wheel into it and too much throttle, you were coming around. So you really had to not put a lot of wheel into it, and I think that high line helped me a lot because I could kind of keep a more of a straighter wheel and just drive off a little bit easier on the corner.
Well, it definitely helped you there at the end. The last lap pass, Jason, unbelievable, putting on a show for us. Congrats on another victory here at Iowa. We'll turn it over to you, brother. Anybody want to shout out or thank?
Yeah, thank you, Dean. I'd like to thank you guys up in the booth for putting on a great broadcast. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, Live Church, and Mike Brown, and keep him in our prayers as well. And Kylou Glass putting on this series, and East Coast Web Printing and Jason Brantley for Thursday nights. And shout out to Susan Travis for a lot of prayers in her situation as well. I'd like to thank all my team, United Motorsports. I'd like to thank all the admins, all the great racers in here. Shout out to Troy. He was a class act tonight, and he was very, very hard to beat. And I'm I'm super thankful to be back in Victory Lane, and hopefully we will revisit you before long.
All right, Jared, race winner, Jason Ratliff.
Yeah, and what a race. I mean, I don't, I've heard some mixed opinions about the tire. I think Jason was kind of in the middle about it. I think Troy was a little bit positive about it. I think Ab Noon was a little bit negative about it, right? I think you're going to find that throughout the field, and it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers adapt moving forward in the schedule because it's not going to get any easier for these guys. These tracks are going to come fast and furious, Dean, heading to the next race at Las Vegas.
Yeah, and adapting and overcome. That seems to be the theme of the week. Who can do it the best? They're going to, get out here, turn some laps, and get the practice in and try and read up on what they need to do. And those who adapt quickly are really going to enjoy it. Those who don't, not so much. Going to be interesting. What a race we had here tonight. A good one in Iowa. But that's going to wrap it up for us. For myself, Dean Doucette, for Mr. Jared Carr. And we'll see you right here next time on Wind Tunnel TV.